Hi guys, this video is going to try to answer the question: Is Yu-Gi-Oh worth playing? For is Yu-Gi-Oh worth playing in 2024? And it's kind of a mixed bag. I played Yu-Gi-Oh. I haven't really played Yu-Gi-Oh except casually now for like the past maybe 7 years. So that would put me at 24. But from 13 to 24, I played competitively very heavily. So I have a lot of experience. I like almost had a lot of regional tops, but I was also a young stupid kid who was like drinking cough syrup at tournaments and stuff like that. So just take that into mind. I'm not like I was a pretty good player. The players in our group who would top multiple regionals, almost every single regional they went to. Like for instance, my buddy YuGiOh and Chill got first place at a regional with a Lancer Frog trap deck that was a very popular YouTube video if you want to go check them out. And I was their part of their practice group at their locals and stuff like that. We would play together. So I was nowhere near the best, but I was right there with the best, competing with them in our local group, and they did. In my opinion, I think they did respect me as a player. I remember one time I was beating myself up for being a piece of shit. I would own our locals constantly, but then they said like I don't know, I would always flop at regionals and I would be down bad on myself, but then they would pick me up saying like like they would tell me personal testimonies of like they see this scrub who couldn't get a regional top, but then I duel him and then he would sweep me sometimes, and it was just like, who the hell is this guy? How can he do that? So that, I mean, like they were probably just gassing me up because they felt bad, but I just wanted to say that just to kind of give you a background and history of who I am as a player. I played Ojamas too. That didn't really help. I obsessively played Ojamas, but anyway, uh, is Yu-Gi-Oh worth playing? So the short answer is maybe. Yes, it depends who you are. So, like, is it good for a new player to get into if they've never played a card game before? It will be very punishing. The state of Yu-Gi-Oh right now is that like you play and somebody makes a huge board with a bunch of things, and then if you can't break that board immediately, you lose. So it's like it's to me reached its critical mass like when it reaches a meta format where there's a tier 0 format or whatever, where a deck is just pulling away from everything else, is because can make the best board without, with the easiest amount of resources, the lowest amount of resources, and it has like a very unbreakable board and it's able to rebuild itself or whatever. It can play its whole deck in like one turn essentially. So then like formats, like if you come in post ban list and they nuke a tier 0 format and it's kind of now a rogue format, that would be a fun time to come into Yu-Gi-Oh as a returning player. But as a new player, that would be like, in my opinion, your only shot of coming into Yu-Gi-Oh and actually sticking around because of the complexity of the game and the complexity of the rules. Uh, Now, back when I was prior to Tengu format, when I first started playing, I would say that that was like the Goldilocks zone for new players to come into Yu-Gi-Oh because of like the complexity of the play. But so you had like basic combos like Junk Synchron, Synchro Summoning into a Catastor, or like just 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 little plays like quick draw Synchron, ditching a Dandelion to then make a Drill Warrior, and then farming resources and then drawing a lot. But there was a lot of like back and forth. So it was nice, slow paced for newer players to get punished a little bit, but then make a little bit of gains. They'd still ultimately lose, but then they would feel good because they felt like they got to participate. But in new Yu-Gi-Oh now, I would argue that it's probably not that way, because like if you have a player who knows what they're doing, they've studied the format, they're playing the deck that's the best deck, and then they just draw the right cards, you will not get to play the game if you are a new player. So there's going to be dealing with that. Now, on the other hand, it would be pretty. I think it's also really good for Yu-Gi-Oh players to get into the game because of the access of free tools to get into Yu-Gi-Oh. Because before I would make the argument that the money would also restrict new players from being able to play the game, but now I kind of retracted that because I thought about it, because there's multiple resources where Yu-Gi-Oh decks are pretty much free. Like Dueling Book, they are 100% free. So if you really wanted to practice, really wanted to grind it out, really wanted to try stuff out yourself, you have that resource. Or if you wanted to play a more structured game, Master Duel is also out, so you can grind cards away, and then you can rise to the ranks of different levels of competitiveness, and you're playing single games instead of matches and stuff like that. So you don't have like a tournament setting, but it's like an easy way for you to get into the game in a more arcadey way. So is it worth it? Yes, probably. Definitely for returning players, I would say it's worth getting into, because the card pool has completely changed. So the landscape of Yu-Gi-Oh is different. And whenever I look at cards, I get really excited to play the game again. But like committing to tournament play and stuff like that is kind of different. But like locals would be really fun. Um, and maybe regionals, just to see some old buddies. That would be definitely worth it in my mind. But for a new player, kind of slightly not biased, but tilted no. But yes, at the same time, it's not impossible. But Yu-Gi-Oh is a fun game. It will be continued to be a fun game, because you have wizard format, you have draft format, you have all these different little formats where you can really spice up the gameplay, because now we have such a large universe of cards. So there's my video, there's my take real quick, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Please subscribe for more content, and I want to start playing progression, so people should hit me up with interest in that, because I've kind of lost my Steam because I haven't got a lot of interest from my friends. I need like 8 to 16 people. So see you later. Have a nice day.